How's it going, YouTube? Sorry for the long delay since my last video. It's been about a week now since I actually did one. I'm still in Australia, I'm still in Melbourne. This is day number 9 of my 1 month trip. The past week's been a bit of a mix, bit of fun, bit of work. As you know, on Monday there was the first day of my actual elective side of it. But yeah, the week's been good. Everyone's really friendly, everyone's so chilled. In this A&E. I guess one of the reasons is in the UK we have the 4 hour waiting time. Patients have to be seen and discharged out of A&E within 4 hours. Here that doesn't exist. So all the doctors and all the nurses are nice and super chilled and just take the time getting things done and make sure everything gets done right, and they're not constantly getting pressured from management and whatnot above saying, oh, get these people seen to, get them back out the doors, which is nice. The doctors themselves are very friendly. They've all been happy for me to get stuck in and see some things and do some things. I've done some basic things, just like seeing patients, examining them, kind of going through the management side of things. I've done some exciting things like stitched up the side of a guy's head that, I don't know, good 10 centimetre or something, like deep laceration along the side of the head. So I got to suture that up. It's been a while since I've done any suturing. The consultant actually called, put a call out over the tannoy for me to come and meet him at one of the staff bases, and was like, oh, have you sutured before? And I was like, yeah, I've done it before. Didn't tell him it had been about, I don't know, 9 months since I last did it. He was like, right, great, come with me. Showed me it, and I was like, right, let's go get everything set up. And I mean, he was there for it, which was nice, just to kind of have that moral support, I guess. But it's muscle memory. Once I get that first stitch in, it was just all back to what I was used to doing. It's quite therapeutic. You're focused on a task at hand. You have a thing in front of you, and you have to get the job done. So that was fun. Met some lovely people. Patient side of things as well. I actually met, I've travelled, like 28,000 miles or something like that, and I met a woman who lives used to live about 5 or 6 miles away from Dunfermline. We just kind of got chatting. She obviously noticed my accent and said, oh, where are you from? And we were chatting about through, and she said, oh yeah, I'm from Fife. And I was like, oh, whereabouts? And so yeah, she's apparently lived here for the past 50 years. And hasn't been back in about 15 years. So I've seen her, yeah, obviously a lot's probably changed since then. But yeah, I just thought it was quite funny how small the world can be despite how far away I actually am. What else have I done? Exciting things. Oh, yeah, nosebleeds. Yeah, they can be a bitch. A normal nosebleed to you and I would stop with a bit of pressure and a bit of tissue and whatnot, but nosebleeds for somebody who is on a medicine to thin the blood can, as I realised the other day, be very dangerous. Poor guy came in, his nose had been bleeding for ages. He was on rivaroxaban, which for the non-medics watching this, it's just a thing that makes your blood less sticky, I guess is one way to put it. It makes it a lot thinner, so it doesn't clot as well. It means when you do bleed, you bleed a lot, or you bleed for longer. Yeah, and so he'd been on this and had a nosebleed, and he couldn't get it to stop, and then he ended up collapsing because he just lost so much blood when he started to stand up to go to the bathroom, and down he went. So I had to run him round to resus and do all the exciting medicine-y things. I must admit, it was a little bit like something from the TV show, which was a bit exciting, not gonna lie. But yeah, and that's the other thing as well, with them being so chilled. I mean, I'm going in at like 8 in the morning for the sort of handover, but I'm only staying until about 3, 4 in the afternoon, because that's usually when the doctors there finish work. So the morning shift, they only do 8 till 3, 8 till 4. So I've been just leaving then, and then it's given me the rest of the afternoon to go and explore Melbourne. So on Friday I took the day off and followed one of the tour guide routes in my Lonely Planet travel guide. And along the route was a lot of street art down different lanes. So there's Hosier Lane, which is the main one you can see here, and some of it was incredible. It's all stencil artwork, so the artists, whoever they may be, create the stencils of it and then colour it in after that. And it's something that's actually been embraced by the city councils and things like that. In the past, I think it was seen as, just vandalism and destruction of property, things like that, and they tried to clamp down on it, which made things worse because people started doing it legally and doing it outside the sort of laneways where it was a bit more controlled. But in recent years, they've embraced it a lot more, and things have actually gotten a lot better because now loads of people come. I mean, I was struggling to try and take some photos of the artwork because of just so many people being there, and there were some just like independent artists just going around playing some music and things as well. It was really really nice to kind of go around in it. There has been Banksy's stuff here in the past. I don't know if there's anything here. I actually need to look that up and try and find out. If there is, try and find it. There has been stuff in the past, and they've tried to apparently protect the council, like the city council, trying to protect the artwork to preserve it so that people can come and see it. But one of them, Banksy, came back and poured in like I don't know some clay or whatever it was, some like liquid thing that just destroyed the artwork, and then he sprayed on it saying Banksy was here because he kind of saw it a bit annoying that the council was, in a sense, trying to protect or profiteer off of his work. But yeah, so if you ever come to Melbourne, you can go around all the laneways. There's loads of tours online you can follow, and it takes you around some of the best artwork in the city. What else did I do Friday? Friday as well, night, I went out in Fitzroy. So Fitzroy is a small little suburb of the metropolitan area of Melbourne. And I went out with one of the guys from the accommodation here, who's from London. I met up with some of his other friends who are doing their elective here in London, from London as well. And we went out to Fitzroy. And it's definitely the sort of young, hip, happening place of Melbourne. It's expensive, is one thing I would say. Even though it's not in the main city itself, it was still quite expensive. I think it was about $10 for a pint, which is at the moment about £7, £8, something like that. So yeah, but it was a great night. It was my first big proper night out in Melbourne since I've been here. I met loads of like Australian people who are all really friendly, especially when they find out you're not from Australia. They're always like telling you places to go and things to do and asking about where you're from and things like that. So it was a good night. It was a long night. I didn't get back until about 5:30 in the morning, so which is later than I normally stay out at home. So I don't know where I managed to get the extra energy from to stay out so late. But this weekend has also been good from a touristy point of view. So Sarah, one of the girls from my uni, she's now moved into the accommodation here because Jenny's disappeared off to New Zealand now, and so Sarah's moved into the accommodation here. So we went out all day Saturday to go to the Melbourne Museum. We got different exhibits on. We went and seen the dinosaur exhibit. We went to a good exhibit on World War One, and specifically looking at the Australian involvement in it, which was quite interesting because I think, in schools and things like that, and in movies and whatnot, and in media, we know a lot about the involvement of Britain and America in World War One and World War Two, but we forget that Australia was also quite heavily involved in it as well. In fact, controversially involved in it from an Australian point of view, especially World War One. They'd only been independent from the UK for about 14 years, but still got dragged into fighting an enemy that was halfway around the world. So I think from an Australian's point of view, it was kind of an unusual war. It was a really good exhibit. It focused more on the family side of it and the sort of the effects it had on the people of Australia rather than the action gun-ho running about shooting people side of things, which was really good. And it had loads of mementos and things like that, people from the war and letters written to home and things. So it was really really interesting. There was also in the museum a human body exhibition, which to be honest just kind of turned into more uni work. So I didn't spend too long there. But it was, so we spent a good bit of the day there, and then we got the tram back into Melbourne city itself and went for some dinner. So if you want somewhere good in the city for dinner, there's a lane just off of Flinders Street Station. If you come out the sort of side entrance to it, it's straight ahead, you can't miss it. And all the way down it is there's like tables down the middle with big patio heaters to keep you warm and things like that. There's loads of different restaurants up and down it for depending on what you want to have. But it was just really nice to be in the middle of it. It's really busy, it's really lively. And the food was also great as well. As you could see, I got quite a nice burger. It was almost too big to fit in my mouth, but I persevered and managed to get it all finished just. And then after that, we just kind of headed back to the accommodation and just chilled out the rest of the night, which was nice. It was a busy day, as I said. Today, Sunday, we went to the Royal Australian Air Force Museum. It's down at Cook Point, where it's on like an airbase there, It's a bit out of the way. It's about 40 minutes away from the middle of Melbourne. So we had to get a train out to there and then a bus from there to it. The only problem was we didn't quite read the public transport app thing right, and we thought we could get a bus straight to it, but we could get a bus to at least a mile away from it, then had to walk down this quite dodgy sort of road towards it to finally get to it. So we got some funny looks from the guards in the gate when we just kind of rocked up on foot wanting to go to the museum. At the museum it was good. We actually picked one of the best days to go because the roulettes, which is a stunt, like a military stunt air show similar to the Red Arrows we have in the UK, where they're doing like a guest show thing to show off, and it was really good to watch actually. I've never seen the Red Arrows, so I don't know what it compares to them, but they were certainly really good. Some of the manoeuvres they were doing were definitely, butt clenching stuff, just passing within meters of each other or being inverted and flying around each other and things like that. It was good to see. And then after it, they when they landed, they were coming up to the crowd and giving a little chat about what they do and taking questions and things, which was quite nice, because even they said it themselves, they enjoy doing smaller shows like this than the big air shows they're used to doing, because they kind of get to interact better with the people there to watch it. And then after that we went to wander around the museum itself and looked at some of the old aircraft and a lot of the history again with the Royal Australian Air Force throughout since its creation, because Point Cook, where we were, was the first Australian Air Force base. It's when it was first set up when they did the first flights and everything out of there. It's now just a training air base. They don't have any active combat aircraft, but it's still very active in the Australian Air Force community as a whole. So there's a lot of history embedded in it, and going around the museum you get to see some of the old planes, some of the technology going from the old bombers from World War One and World War Two, and it was just very basic kind of line of sight judging when to drop a bomb, to the sort of laser guided, GPS guided bombs that we have today. And going around it as well, similar to what I was saying about World War One, about how Australia was kind of pulled into that because of the association with Britain. A lot of the conflicts that Australia took part in, the Air Force at the very least, but probably Australia as a whole, was not their wars. The only one that was an exception was probably World War Two, because the Japanese empire was slowly spreading and capturing all the islands across the South Pacific Ocean, and we're getting closer and closer to Australia. I think the last sort of line of defence before Australia was New Guinea, so the Australians set up a defensive point there. So for that point of view, that's probably the only one they really had to get involved in. They did also fight in Europe initially, which kind of started a bit of controversy again, because it was, oh, look at this, Britain's dragged into yet another world war. And then after that, they were involved in the Korean War, which they only got there because they had Air Force jets kind of stationed in Japan as part of like a peacekeeping mission, and they were getting ready to head back home when North Korea invaded South Korea. And so they had to respond to the invasion. And I think it said 25% of the aircraft, or 25% of the pilots, were either killed or captured during that war. Again, another war that he wasn't really there to be involved in. The Vietnam War, again, they took less of a combat role in it, more of a support role, but still they were committing resources to it. Then there's a big bit of sort of modern wars to do with Iraq and Afghanistan and things like that. So yeah, it's quite good to see, because as I said before, you don't quite realise how much work or how much work Australia puts into these various conflicts that we know so much about from a British point of view. After that, we made the long walk back to civilization again, got a few buses, got a bit of food, went to the shops where I found Irn Bru. I haven't actually tasted it yet, so I don't know if it's going to be any good. But I mean, I think it's made in, manufactured in Britain, so in Glasgow. So it's the real deal. I'll probably have a wee drink of it later on and let you know if it's rubbish or actually drinkable. And then came back here tonight, and then now I've made this video, which is quite long because I've done a fair amount in the past week, or actually just the past couple of days, never mind the whole week. So in terms of things to do this week, again it's going to be a bit of a mix of work and play. I'm going to go in a bit later during this week. One, because I hate mornings. I hate having to get in for 8 o'clock. I am not a morning person. But two, because things kick off a bit more with things to do later into the day. So I'm probably going at about 10 o'clock or something, maybe 11, and then stay a couple of hours later, leave at like 5 or 6 o'clock or something, just to kind of get a different perspective of it. The play side of it, though, is the interesting point. So on Friday, I'm flying out up the coast to Sydney for the weekend. Sarah and I are going to leave at about 9:30 in the morning, the flight is, so it's an early start that morning to get up to the airport. And it's only a couple of hours up to Sydney, where the weather is a lot nicer than here. I think it's been sitting somewhere mid-20s with beautiful skies. So I'm going to go there and try and hit the beach, get some sun into me, since never see much during the year. May as well make the most of it when I'm here. But yeah, it's only a short trip, but 2 days or 2 nights at least should be plenty of time to get done. Staying in a nice little 5-star hotel, so it'll be a bit of an upgrade from my lovely accommodation here. But yeah, and then flying back Sunday night. So I'm guaranteed that I will have plenty of things to talk about and plenty of photos and videos and things to show you when I get back. I'll try and do a video before I leave on Thursday, just to kind of detail what I've done during the week, if anything interesting. I'm not bringing my laptop with me, so I won't have anything for you guys until this Monday, because Sunday night we get back too late for me to be bothered to do a video. One last thing before I go. One of my friends from home, Fraser, hi Fraser, if you're watching it, he was here beforehand doing his elective in the same accommodation. He left me a lovely postcard. He spelt my name wrong. There's only one R. Thanks. And he wrote me a lovely message on the back. He did say love you. So, thanks Fraser. Appreciate it. I'll stick that on the fridge. Yeah, so I guess until Thursday, or if I'm lazy, Monday, I'll see you guys later.